He screams into a cheap plastic microphone. The audio clips and distorts until it sounds like static. He is 12 years old, and he is telling you that your life has no value. This is not just a bad day in a lobby. This is the pulse of a modern digital generation. We think games are an escape from reality. We think they are a separate world where the rules of society do not apply. But that is a lie. Why does a hobby meant for fun turn into a breeding ground for hate? In the next 10 minutes, we will see how the mirror of the screen is actually reflecting the deepest cracks in our culture. You will learn why toxicity is not a glitch in the code. It is a feature of the human heart that we are finally being forced to look at. The early days of gaming were different. You sat on a couch with a friend. You could see their face. You could feel the heat of the console next to you. If you were mean, you might get punched in the arm. There was a physical cost to being a jerk. Then the internet changed everything. We moved from the living room to the global stage. Now we play with millions of people we will never meet. We are connected by fiber optic cables and separated by thousands of miles. This distance has created a strange new psychological landscape. It is a place where empathy goes to die. We call it toxicity, but that word is too simple. It is a catch-all term for a massive social collapse. To understand it, we have to look at the machines we built. We have to look at the way we reward winning. And most importantly, we have to look at how we treat each other when we think no one is watching. The first pillar of this problem is the mask of anonymity. Social scientists call this the online disinhibition effect. It is a fancy way of saying that people act like monsters when they do not have to own their actions. Think of it like a masquerade ball where everyone is carrying a megaphone. You cannot see the eyes of the person you are insulting. You cannot see the flinch or the hurt. This creates a disconnect in the brain. We stop seeing other players as human beings. We see them as obstacles. They are just bits of data on a screen. They are bots that happen to have a human sitting behind them. When that human fails to perform, we feel entitled to lash out. This is worsened by the lack of authority. In the real world, we have police and bosses and parents. In a match of League of Legends, we only have a report button that feels like it does nothing. This lack of consequence is a drug. It makes us feel powerful in a world where we often feel small. We take out our frustrations on the person with the lowest score. We use them as a punching bag for our bad day at work. The mask does not change who we are. It just lets the person inside come out to play. The second pillar is the meritocracy trap. Most modern games are built around a rank. You are bronze or silver or gold. This rank becomes a part of your identity. We are told that if we work hard, we will rise to the top. This is the American dream in digital form. But the math does not always work out. You can play perfectly and still lose because a teammate made a mistake. This creates a unique kind of rage. It is the rage of a person who feels their status is being stolen. When your self-worth is tied to a number on a screen, every loss feels like a personal attack. We start to view our teammates as liabilities. We do not see a friend. We see a weight around our neck. This is why the most competitive games are often the most toxic. The stakes are artificial, but the stress is real. Our bodies release cortisol just like they would in a real fight. We are in survival mode in a virtual world. In survival mode, we do not have room for kindness. We only have room for blame. We blame the lag. We blame the balance. But mostly we blame the people standing next to us. This is the dark side of competition. It turns a shared experience into a zero-sum game of survival. The third pillar is the mirror of social hierarchy. Games do not exist in a vacuum. The biases we have in the real world follow us through the login screen. Racism and sexism and homophobia are not invented by video games. They are just amplified by them. A voice chat is a place where the loudest and most aggressive voices win. If you do not sound like the majority, you are a target. This is a reflection of our tribal nature. We want to protect our in-group. We want to push out the outsiders. For a long time, gaming was seen as a space for a specific kind of person. As that space grows, the old guard gets angry. They use toxicity as a gatekeeping tool. They want to make the environment so hostile that the outsiders leave. This is why a female player often has to stay silent in a match. She knows that speaking up will invite a storm of abuse. This is not a gaming problem. This is a society problem. The game is just providing the megaphone. It is showing us that under the surface we are still deeply divided. We carry our baggage into every lobby. We unpack it the moment things go wrong. The fourth pillar is the monetization of anger. Large game companies are businesses. Their goal is engagement. They want you to stay in the game for as long as possible. Research shows that negative emotions can be more engaging than positive ones. High-intensity situations keep you clicking. Some algorithms even struggle to differentiate between a toxic community and a passionate one. If people are talking, they are engaged. If they are shouting, they are still logged in. This creates a vacuum of responsibility. Moderation is expensive. It requires thousands of humans to review reports. It is cheaper to build an automated system that looks for bad words. But toxicity is not just bad words. It is an attitude. It is griefing and throwing and soft sabotage. Machines cannot catch the nuance of a person being a jerk. So the behavior continues. It becomes the norm. We start to think that this is just how gaming is. We tell people to grow a thicker skin. This is the ultimate victory for toxicity. Convinces us that it is inevitable. It makes us believe that the poison is just part of the water. The fifth pillar is the influencer effect. We live in the age of the streamer. Millions of kids watch their favorite players every day. These players are often highly skilled and highly emotional. When a top streamer screams at a teammate, it becomes a meme. It becomes a cool way to act. The audience copies the behavior. They think that being toxic is a sign of being a pro. They think it shows that they care about the game. This creates a cycle of normalization. We have turned being a bad sport into a brand. We celebrate the villains because they are entertaining. But we forget that most people are not entertainers. They are just people trying to relax after a long day. When the culture at the top is toxic, it drips down into every level of the game. It becomes a language that everyone speaks. You see it in the way people type. You see it in the way they move their characters. It is a performance of anger that we have all agreed to participate in. We are all actors in a play that no one is enjoying. We have spent years looking for a solution in the code. We want better filters and faster bans. We want AI to save us from ourselves. But the truth is much harder to swallow. The toxicity in our games will not go away until we fix the toxicity in our world. A game is just a mirror made of pixels. It shows us our impatience. It shows us our greed. It shows us how quickly we turn on each other when there are no consequences. If you want to see the true state of human empathy, do not look at a charity gala. Look at a losing team in a ranked match at 3 in the morning. That is where the mask falls off. That is where we see who we really are. The revelation is not that gamers are bad. The revelation is that humans are fragile. We are desperate for status and terrified of failure. We are using these digital worlds to scream because we feel unheard in the real one. The game is not the cause. It is the symptom. So the next time you hear that static scream in your headset, do not just hit mute. Think about the person on the other side. Think about the mirror they are holding up. We are all trapped in the same loop of competition and pressure. We are all looking for a way to feel important. The digital world is not a separate realm. It is an extension of our streets and our schools. If we want a better game, we have to be better people. The code can only do so much. The rest is up to the heart. Because at the end of the day, you are not just playing against a screen. You are playing with a person. And that person is just as lost in the static as you are. Remember that the next time you feel the urge to scream. If this resonated with you, then hit the subscribe button. We are building a community that looks deeper into the culture of play. Share this video with a friend who needs to hear it. Let us start a different kind of conversation in the comments below. Stay curious.